Hi, you are amazing. Do you know that? Maybe not, but maybe you do. But we're gonna find out how to find you're amazing if you haven't found you're amazing. And I'm gonna find out what exactly that is from our guest today. This is Now Tell Us, and I'm your host, Anthony Morore. Today we have a guest who is known as Dr. Denise Moore. She's gonna tell us about finding you're amazing. Please remember to share this video or this audio, whatever it is that you're listening on, to all your friends. If you have a question, ask. If you have a comment, we are very excited when we see some feedback from our viewers. And without taking one more minute, I'm going to invite you to come with me as we go and meet Dr. Denise. Here we go. Hello, Dr. Denise.
Hello, Anthony.
How are you?
I am fine, thank you. Fine, thank you.
You. You're looking good.
Oh, thank you. I feel good today. Today was a good day.
Where are you based?
So again,
Where are you based right now? Where are
where am
you?
I based? I
Yeah.
am in Maryland, right outside of Washington, D.C., between
Okay.
Washington, D.C. and Baltimore, Maryland. So yeah.
That's good. So now you remind me now when you mentioned Washington D.C. I watched a clip a few days ago. It was kind of funny. Someone has been sent on an assignment, a
Uh-huh.
newscaster. It was some parody from Canada or something, I guess. So he's been sent on an assignment to go to Washington and cover the inauguration of the president, and he finds himself in Washington. He's asking, "I thought you sent me to Washington." "No, we did not send you to Washington. We sent you to Washington D.C."
Oh no. Oh, he went to Washington State, not Washington, D.C. There's a difference.
Okay, so I got that. Okay, I know this, but there are so many people that don't know that we
Right.
have two states with the same,
Yeah.
almost the same name.
Right.
Yeah. So good to meet you. How is the weather today?
Oh wow, it is cold today. I went out earlier to run some errands. It was 28 degrees.
All
Ooh,
right.
yeah, Fahrenheit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
welcome
yeah.
to the show.
But thank you for having me. I look forward to our conversation and just sharing with the audience all about owning your amazing.
Okay. Now, Dr. Denise Moore Revel,
Yes.
tell us who is this doctor.
Yes.
Give us an insight on yourself.
All right. So again, I'm Dr. Denise Moore Revel. For 28 years, I've been a speech language pathologist. So I've helped people to learn how to talk, to communicate, to find their voices, right? To really learn how to express themselves. So I've been doing that for a number of years. But about 6 years ago, I started a company called Own Your Amazing. And it's really an extension of the work I've been doing as a speech therapist. And what I mean by that, I help women to find their voices, to live their worth out loud, to show up as their authentic selves. Because that was my journey of self discovery. Like, how am I living? Am I showing up as the true me? Am I living my worth out loud? And so, Own Your Amazing is kind of a product of trying to help other people to find their amazing.
Yeah, wow, that's beautiful. And apart from taking that journey, and specifically focusing on women because you've gone through that journey, is there another reason why you specifically go for the women and not everyone or not the men?
I go for women because I'm a woman.
Mhm. That's one.
But I have found that as I share my message of Own Your Amazing, that a lot of men have been coming on board too. I do work with men as well, but primarily women, because I have found in my work that a lot of times women, we feel like we don't have a voice. We
Mm-hmm.
can't really say what we want, who we are. And so I try to empower women and give them permission to say, yeah, this is who you are. This is what your life is. And and again, I found some men have come aboard as well with the movement. So I don't discriminate, but I just say right now my focus is primarily on women.
Yeah, we are all one. I'll be interested to know
Right.
what are the
So
women
you're
doing.
welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
And that's good. So and it's good that you bring this up because in now things are changing and we can accept that world over that is not as it used to be, that
Yeah.
women are trying to rise up, they are trying to take positions in companies, they are becoming CEOs and all. Now this has not always been that way, and maybe you can tell us why, because I know being focused with your work, you know a lot of history of how things have been.
Yeah.
Why don't they have the voice, and as we include some women, some men also.
I think for a number of different reasons, but I grew up in a generation where it said children are to be seen but not heard, right?
Mm-hmm,
So you grow up not really feeling like you have a voice, that you have a say in your life. So you
mm-hmm,
grow up with that. And then you get other messages from society, from school, from different places telling you that what you have to say is not worth hearing, or who you
mm-hmm,
are or how you want to express yourself is not how it's supposed to be. And so a lot of us just live really silent and quiet. And so I want to just give a little background about the whole Own Your Amazing movement. I had been on the journey. I had gone to college, got the degrees, had a success, but I still wasn't happy. I felt like there was still something missing. I still felt like I wasn't living my fullest potential. And so I had gone to a retreat, a women's retreat, one weekend. And so it started on a Friday. So the Friday of the retreat, I went out with a young lady to dinner just to get to know one another, share our stories. And so then the next day was the official start of the retreat. And so as it goes, the coach or the facilitator of the retreat, she had different women to come to the room to get coaching. And so I was just waiting for my turn to come to the front of the room. But as I was looking at the other participants, they were all crying, very emotional. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, okay, I don't know why they're crying, but it's okay, right? That's what I'm thinking in my mind. And so now it's my turn to go to the
mm-hmm,
front row and get coached, right? And I
mm-hmm.
tell you, Anthony, as soon as I sat down, I started crying. I was like, oh my
Why?
God. I was like, she was, and facilitator was like, what's going on? I was like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with me. I said, that's why I'm here, because I really need to figure out what's going on with me. And so the young lady who I had gone at the dinner the night before, she raised her hand and said, I know what's wrong with you. And I'm thinking to myself, we just met. You don't know me. I've been on this journey. How are you going to tell me what's going on with me? That's what I was thinking. I didn't say that.
Mm-hmm,
I just said, oh, okay, what's going on with me? And she said to me, she said, I just met you. She said, you're smart, you're brilliant, you're talented. She said, you're all these wonderful things. She said, but you don't own it. She said, you need to own your amazing and stop playing small. And I was like, oh my God, that's it. So she helped me to language what I had been feeling. I knew there was more for me to do. Deep
mm-hmm,
down inside, we all know there's more. But a lot of us have been afraid to stand up, to stand for ourselves, to shine, to own our amazing. We have allowed what society says or what family say to diminish what we think is, make us feel that we're not worth it, that we're
mm-hmm,
not important. But she helped me to language that day that we are all amazing. And our
mm-hmm,
job is to own it and not to devalue ourselves or allow other people to devalue us, but to understand we all matter. And we all came to this planet amazing.
mm-hmm.
Now it's just time for us to own it and show up more powerfully. That's the
Mm,
message.
that's wonderful. And I discover now it's good that you say that most of us know that we are amazing, but then there are those many of us that I have come across that they don't know their value, and just as you say,
Yes.
you expressed at that retreat that I actually don't know what's wrong with me, but actually it was not what was wrong with you, it was what was good, very great with you, and you didn't know that, and some of us don't know.
You're
So
absolutely right.
yeah,
And it
so
takes someone else bearing witness to
mhm,
say, no, I see that you are amazing. I see all these things. And a lot of times other people can see it within us. Other
Mm-hmm.
people know, they can see your greatness and your goodness and all your amazingness, but we don't see it. We don't own it. We don't take ownership of it. There's been so many times in my life when people like, "Oh, you're good at this, you're good at," but I was like, "I don't know. I'm not sure." How many times have we done that to ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
When other people can see it because it's there, but we have to own it. And so that's the message. I'm telling you to own it. I'm telling me to own it. I'm telling the world. And you have to own it for yourself. I can't own it for you, and you can't own it for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's an inside job, that it's the
Mm-hmm.
internal work we have to do to say, yeah, I am brilliant. I am
Mm-hmm.
amazing. I am a one of a kind. You know, there's over 8 billion people on the planet, and there's no two people exactly the same. That's amazing. We're it. you
Yeah,
know, we're
sure.
it. And so we have to really celebrate that, to own it, and just really to embrace who we are.
Hmm. Now, going through your profile, I came across a book
Yes.
with exactly those words. At what point did that book come to be?
Oh, it's a story behind that too.
Yeah, tell us
yes.
that story.
Yes. Own your amazing. Discover the power to create an amazing life you love. It's like discover your power, because the power is within you.
Mm-hmm.
You have to own it for yourself. So the story behind the book is that I never thought I was going to write a book. I never
Mm-hmm.
had that on my radar. That was never something I said I was wanted to do, because I didn't believe I could.
Mm-hmm.
Again, other people thought I could, but I didn't think I could, right? And so I have a business coach. And so when we were first starting out, she said, I think you need to write a book to share your story, to share your journey on how to own your amazing. And I said, no, I can't do that. I'm a terrible writer.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I said that was because when I was in high school, my high school English teacher, my senior year, told me I was one of the worst writers he had ever had.
Ah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so that played in my mind, like, no, 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 I can't write. And to be honest, writing has always been a challenge for me. I always had to take more time with my writing assignments, but I was able to still do a good job. So the little confidence that I had in my writing, he dashed it that day.
Mm-hmm.
And so my confidence in my writing was just gone. And so now here years, I get through college, and now this person say, "Hey, write a book." And I'm like, "No way, I'm not going to do that." And
Mm-hmm.
so then she said to me, "Well, what if you can share something in your story that can help someone?" And I was like, "You got me,
Yeah.
you got me."
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
so that's why I wrote the book. It's because again, I wanted to share my story with the hopes of helping someone else to see themselves too, to say, if I can go through what I went through and still learn how to own my amazing, then so can you. So can this person. And
Mm-hmm.
so, again, writing the book was a way of me facing my fears. It was a way of me taking ownership and saying, I'm not going to listen to what that person said. I am going to do this, and I'm not going to allow the fear to get the best of me. So that's why I wrote the book. And then what I'm really most excited and proud about was my book was nominated for a book award, right? I was one of the finalists. I know. I was like, oh my God. And so, and the book was based on the I was in the self-help, I think the self-help personal empowerment category, something like that. But anyway, I
Mm-hmm.
was a finalist because they were looking for not the number of sales that books were making, but what kind of impact
Mm-hmm.
that the person wanted to make with their book. And so that's why I got nominated. That's why I was a finalist, because they saw and they see that the message of Own You Amazing is powerful. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to make an impact on the world with this message. And so that's what I'm proud about. Not how many books I've sold, but the impact that my story can make, the impact that the message can make, because I want everyone to own their amazing. I want everyone to recognize and realize how truly they're amazing they are. Because when you do that, then you're going to show up so much differently in the world. You're not
Mm-hmm.
going to cower down. You're not going to be afraid. You're not going to be timid, but you're going to show up boldly to share your gifts of who you are with the rest of the world.
Wow. And there's so much in that. Now, when you come to the point of considering that whatever it is that I'm going to do, drawing out my amazing and taking it out there to the world is not specifically because of me. Many times we focus on ourselves and we say, I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to gain something, or maybe I'm good. I'm going to expose myself out there with my flaws. And so when this person told you, just give it out there because it's going to be helping someone out there, then it drew out your amazing, and we can see your amazing shine. It's
And
beautiful.
so I want to say one of the chapters in the book is called, is dealing with purpose.
Mm-hmm.
That we are made on purpose and for a purpose.
Yeah.
We were created on purpose. We're not here by accident. I believe we're here on purpose
Mm-hmm.
and for a purpose. And so it's up to us to discover, well, why am I here? And what did I come to share? What did I come to give? The ability to help children to learn how to speak as a speech therapist, it's not for me, it's for them.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to speak, and so the gift of talking is a gift God has given to me to help those who can't.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we recognize that who we are is a gift to someone, then we're going to show up differently because someone needs you, me, your listeners to be exactly who we are. We don't need to change up. We don't need to be any different because someone needs you exactly the way you are because you were made on purpose and for a purpose. And so I tell people who work with me, how are you going to show up in the world? You're holding back your gifts. Somebody is needing you to show up and you're just sitting back, not showing up, not writing the book, not cooking the meals, not teaching the children, not being a mechanic, whatever that gift is, we need you to show up. And I tell the story all the time. I love my mechanic. I know I get on his nerves because if my car don't start, I'm calling him. But he's gifted in that. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know how to fix a car. But what if he decided I'm not going to fix anybody's car but my own? Then I would be left on the side of the road many a days. But he has come to my rescue. He'll call me to make sure my car is running okay so I can go about my life. I thank God that he's gifted in that. And so somebody needs you to show up the way you are because they're dependent on you. They need you. But
Yeah.
oftentimes we discount who we are and what we have, thinking it's no value, but it does have value. You have value. I have value. And we just need to show up more powerfully in the world.
That's very well said, and I appreciate that. Wow. Now, talking of the chapters, I see you telling about talking about the struggles to owning it, and I believe there. Can you tell us about them, the struggles? Why?
Oh, yeah.
And maybe you can give us your own examples. And
Oh, yeah. I have so
yeah.
many, but I'll pick one.
Okay.
I'll start with I always tell the story. I think I told the story in my book about being in high school. And it was time for me to pick a college to go to. First of all, let me back up. I'm the youngest of 5 children. I have a brother and 3 sisters. I'm the youngest. And
Mm-hmm.
so there were certain expectations about my life. Let me start there. And
Yeah.
what I was going to do and where I was going to go. Right. And I went along with it for many years. I did what everyone expected me to do. But now it came time for me to pick a college. And there was a certain school that everyone assumed I was going to attend. But
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to attend that particular school. I just didn't feel like it was a good fit for me. So the story goes, it was time to apply for school, to colleges. And I applied to some colleges, you know. And so now it's time for acceptance letters to come, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so my dad was like, have you gotten your acceptance letter from this particular school? And I was like, no, I haven't gotten it yet. And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay. A few more weeks go by. He asked me again, hey, have you gotten an acceptance letter from that particular school? I was like, no. He was like, I've heard other people have gotten theirs. I wonder why you haven't gotten yours. I was like, okay. So then he said, so then next time, so he asked me again, did I
Mm-hmm.
get the acceptance letter? I was like, no. And that's when I said, Dad, we need to have a conversation. And so I told him the reason why I have not gotten the acceptance letter was because I didn't apply to the school.
Mm-hmm.
And to say that my dad was a little upset with me,
Mm-hmm.
it's saying it like he was very upset with me. Very.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I didn't apply, but I had to tell him that I didn't think that school was a good fit for me. Yes, it was a great school, but it wasn't a good school for me, even though family members had gone there and the
Yeah.
expectation was I was going to go too.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I don't want to go. And so we had a conversation and, we worked it out. But that was the first time in my life I really felt like I stood for myself, that I made a decision about my life. So I said to my dad, I said, shouldn't I have a say so of where I'm going to go to school since I'm going to be there for the next 4 years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was like, you're right. And so that was really, really, there have been other times too. I felt like my voice was heard with my family, but not always. But that was one of the times I felt like I got to make a stand. I gotta do what I think is going to be for best in my best interest, not what everyone else expects me to do, because that's not what I want to do. But a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times we just go along with because that's what people think we need to do or expected to do. But deep down inside, we like this isn't it for me. This doesn't work for me. But we've been afraid to say it, to live our worth out loud, to say out loud, this is not for me. This is the direction that I want to go. And
Mm.
so, yes, I have, other examples, but my point is that we have to learn to stand for ourselves, to stand in our own power. And so I tell people all the time, it takes courage to be who you are.
Mm.
It takes courage because there's so many voices speaking, telling us, do this, don't do this, go here, go there, look like this, don't look like that. And it's like, what voice are you listening to? Are you
Mm.
listening to your own internal voice?
Mm-hmm.
Are you listening to your intuition, to that God within, whatever you want to call it? Are you listening? And a lot of times we're not. We on Facebook, we on social media, we listen to everybody but ourselves, and then we wonder why we're not happy. We
Mm.
wonder why we're not fulfilled, because a lot of times people are doing work that don't light them up. It doesn't excite them. They're just doing the work to get a paycheck. But what about doing the work that you love, that you're good at,
Mm-hmm.
that you've been gifted to give? That's when you're going to light up. That's when you're going to be like, oh my God, I can't wait to get up every day and share what I've been given with the rest of the world. But most people don't live that way. And so I'm encouraging, I say, I'm giving people permission to own your amazing, to say, this is what I want for my life, and go
Mm.
for
Go for it.
it. And go for it.
Yeah. One of our viewers, known as Esther, wants
Uh-huh.
to know how she can gain confidence and trust in herself that she can do it. How do you gain that trust? Trust yourself. Yes, you can.
Yes. And again, I said it takes courage to do that, especially if you haven't done it before or
Mm.
you haven't done it in a long time. But I work a lot with young children, and
Mm.
if you watch a child who has not been, I say, tainted by an adult, but think about a young child. They are free in their
Mm-hmm.
creativity. They know. You say, can you do? Yeah, I can do it. They believe in themselves. It's not until we begin to hear other messages like, well, maybe I can't. Well, maybe I shouldn't. But I tell people, go back to that childlike innocence that we all had at one time when we truly believed I could leap tall buildings. I have a cape. Think about kids believe in themselves. They believe in
Mm.
their creativity. And so it's just a matter of getting back centered and quiet to tap back into and hear that voice. So one
Mm-hmm.
of the questions I always start with my clients who work with me, I'll ask them a simple question. Who are you for you?
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you
And when I
for?
tell you, that is a hard question for a lot of people to answer, because I can ask them, well, who are you? And they was like, well, I'm this. Well, how do you know that? Who told you that? Did you say that? Or did somebody tell you that? That's who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And they be like, I don't know. Because somebody may say, I'm an artist. Well, how do you know you're an artist? Oh, because I say I'm an artist. And so here's one of the chapters in my book is that you don't have to wait for other people to confirm you. You have to affirm yourself. A lot of times we look for outside affirmations. Do you think I'm good? Do you think I'm pretty? Do you think I'm smart? Instead of saying, I think I'm smart. I think I'm good enough. I think I'm worthy. We have to affirm ourselves, because we may
Mm-hmm.
not ever get the affirmation from outside of us, but we don't need it. We don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
And so to answer the question is like, believe in your, just start today and say, I'm going to listen to me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to hear, I'm going to say, I'm going to ask myself, is this what I really want? Is this what I really want? Not what I should want or what other people tell me I want, but is this what I really want? Like, oh, okay. Another good example is when I first started my speech therapy practice. I have a private practice. I have an office space where people come and get services. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I was setting up the office, the person came in to connect the telephone and the internet and all those kind of things. And so the person said to me, would you like a television in your reception area? And I said, no, I don't want a television in my reception area. I said, I want books. I love
Mm.
to read. And so I said, when the parents bring their children in, I want them to read to them. So I think a television would be distracting.
Mm-hmm.
He said, well, other offices have television in their reception area. I think you should too. Mm-hmm. No, thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, I think it'd be, I said, sir, I don't want a television. I want books. And so when you go to my office right now, there is no
Mm-hmm.
television and there's lots of books because that is what I wanted. That is how I wanted my office space to be when people came to my space. Now, however else anybody does their space, that's good for them. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to say, well, no, that doesn't work for me. I want a different kind of space for when people come to me. So again, it's just taking a stand for what it is you say you want for yourself.
Mm. Yes, and you talk about self-care, and I think it's related to all that we've said. But you talk about self-care and not being selfish. What specifically are you aiming at?
Oh my gosh. So yeah, that's a chapter in the book. I had to include that because a lot of times, especially with women, we think that taking care of ourselves is selfish
Mm-hmm.
because we are the nurturer. We are the person who takes care of everybody. We make sure everybody is taken care of but ourselves.
Mm.
But what I've learned that I can't take care of other people unless I'm taking care of me. There's an old saying, you can't give from an empty wagon. But a
Mm.
lot of us try to give and give and give, but we're empty, we're depleted, and we end up being tired and bitter and cranky
Mm-hmm.
because we haven't taken time for self-care. We haven't taken time to fill ourselves back up with what we need. And so then we try to give to other people, and it's not really beneficial, right? So, real
Mm-hmm.
quick, a story was I always talk about self-care when I would do my workshops. And so one of my good friends came to my workshop. And so we got to the part about taking self-care. Like, what is something you want to do in terms of your self-care?
Mm.
And at the time she's married with two young, at the time her kids were younger than they are right now. And so
Mm-hmm.
she said, I just want to check into a hotel room by myself, no husband, no kids, take a bath, order room service, and go to bed. And we were like, do it, do it, do it. And she
Yeah.
was like, oh, I don't know. I mean, she said, I'll have to talk it up with my husband. I said, absolutely. I said, but you owe it to yourself to do it. And so later on that afternoon, her husband called me. And because we're good friends, he called me. He said, did you tell my wife she should check in a hotel room and have a good, all of that? I was like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, thank you. He said,
Mm.
thank you.
Thank you.
He said, thank you, because I have been telling her to take some time for herself.
Mm-hmm.
Because what he recognized that when she takes time for herself to take care of herself, when she shows back up, she's a better wife and a better mother. And so when we take time for ourselves, when we make sure we're rested, we make sure we're good physically, spiritually, emotionally, we're better able to serve people. And so I had to learn over the years, like, you got to take time for yourself. You got
Mm-hmm.
to make sure you're shutting it down and not on. I used to work 7 days a week, 6 days a week, just work and got depleted and I got burned out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I couldn't show up the way I really wanted to show up. Now I don't work that many hours. It's like, no way. I do my vacations. I take time to, and self-care can look like whatever it looks like for you, and some people like to go out in nature and take a walk or watch a movie or take a bubble bath, whatever that is that's going to nourish you back to where you
Mm-hmm.
need to be. So when you show up, you're more powerful. You're more
Yeah.
ready. So I got a
Mm-hmm.
good night's sleep last night. That's why I'm here today with you.
That's wonderful. Yeah, you have got to refill that cup so that you can pour
Yes.
out to the others. Yeah, so Esther agrees. Oh, yeah, she can relate to that or everything that you've said.
Yes.
And it's good to take care of yourself. Self-care
Yeah.
is not selfish.
It's not selfish.
Yes, and also Esther identifies, she's seen the books around me, so I will be very comfortable in Dr. Denise's reception area. I love books.
I'll sing you one.
Yeah, I love books. And now you talk about your reception area, your space where people come for consultation, and do you just specifically and only do it there, or do you reach out to people everywhere? How do you?
Yes, in terms of my speech therapy, it is just locally. But in terms of On You Amazing, Oh, that's more virtual. That's more global. I do a lot of the coaching I do with people from around the world, actually. And
Mm-hmm.
so the power of the internet, the power of social media, the power of being able to connect like we are, has afforded me the opportunity to work with people from all over. And so that's the beauty of it. It was what I love. I'm a book coach. Not only did I write a book, I've helped other people write their books because I understand the power of the written word and getting your story out. So uh, all of my clients they don't live near me. They live in
Mm-hmm.
all over the United States, in other countries. So yeah. Um, so the Own Your Amazing movement is a global movement. It's a global um, a business. I coach, I speak. I spoke in France last year,
Mm-hmm.
and so Dubai, different places like that, virtually, in person. So again, the message is global. I want everyone to be empowered to really own who they are and to show up because the world is waiting for you to show up. And
Mm.
so yeah, so Own Your Amazing is virtual, is digital. I have courses, I have the books, I do virtual workshops, I do all of that because I'm really committed to the mission of helping to support people.
Now that's beautiful. It's
Yeah,
wonderful. And you're doing a great job. You surely are owning your amazing. We can see that.
awesome. Thank you.
So how can people connect with you to own their own amazing?
Yes. So I would tell people to start with the website, which is ownyouramazingnnow.com. I say, don't wait to own your amazing, do it now. So ownyouramazingnnow.com. Now is the best time that you get started to owning who you are and showing up more powerfully. You can also find me on social media. I'm there. I do a weekly thing called Think About It Thursday on my Facebook page where I just come on for a few minutes to give a little inspiration, motivation. But it's all about helping people to take inspired action. Like, what are you going to do differently?
Mm-hmm.
Because if we keep doing the same things, we're going to keep getting the same results. So if every week I challenge them to think different, like think about what you're thinking about, right?
Mm.
And it's like, how do we create these amazing lives? Well, you got to think about what you're thinking about, and then you
Wow.
got to go do something differently.
I love
And
that.
so, yeah,
I love that. Yes, I
yeah,
always. You should be thinking what you're thinking about, not just thinking for the sake of
yeah.
thinking.
Right, exactly. Like, what are you thinking about? Like,
Mhm.
really take time and do self-reflection. We don't do that enough because we're all so busy ripping and running and going that we don't take a minute to be still, to be quiet, to think about, like, is my life really headed where I want to go? Yesterday, my talk was make a U-turn. If your life is not headed in the direction you want to go, well, make a U-turn. Turn it
Mhm.
around. Go in a different direction. Take some different action
Mm.
because we all deserve to have the life of our dreams. But
Yeah.
you got to put in the work. You got to do something differently. If not, you're going to keep getting the same results.
Mm. Wow, wow, that's wonderful. So, once again, to all the viewers or the listeners, please go to ownyouramazingnow.com. And it's now, not tomorrow, now.
Yeah.
Ownyouramazingnow.com. If you've loved this episode like I have loved it, you should be going there right now, not waiting for tomorrow. It's now. Yes, we really thank you, Dr. Denise. Thank you very much for taking your time to be with us here. Yes, also our viewers are thanking you.
Oh,
Esther is there
thank you.
saying,
Thank you for having me. It's been such a pleasure. I appreciate every time someone gives me the opportunity to talk about all your amazing. So thank you.
yes, we really appreciate you. And we also appreciate all our guests here, our viewers, yes, our audience. We appreciate. And thank you for uh, being with us. Now, Rich Kememia is here and is excited about that statement. Yes.
Think about what you're thinking about.
Yes. Now, think what you're thinking. So, yes, it's been a beautiful experience having you here, and we appreciate. We are definitely going to come and connect with you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, that's about it. And but before we go, we'd like you to leave us with just a few words. You've said much, but we'd like you to leave us with your favorite words, a few words that we should always remember you with.
Just remember that you are important, you are special, and you are amazing. Nothing or no one can change that. Now, your job is to go out and own it. Own your amazing today.
Own your amazing today, now. Yeah, that's been it. On your amazing. This has been Now Tell Us. I have been your host, Anthony Morore, and together with Dr. Denise, our guest today, we are saying bye for now.
Mhm.